These are the sneaker releases in December 2025 that you need to know about. This is Sit or Sell. Alright, so since the month has already started, I'm just going to start things off on December 3rd, and the first release that we have is the Nike Kobe 9 Elite Low Protro Neo Turquoise and Volt. This shoe first released back in 2014 is a top-end premium basketball model, and to be fair, in 2025 it is still definitely that. It comes in at a retail price of $220, and it is also a Protro, meaning that it's been improved for modern basketball performance. Probably for this model, meaning that they've added a softer React X midsole or something like that. Maybe just React, I'm not totally sure. Either way, the shoe looks like the original, but it's been updated for the modern era for basketball performance. Now, while this shoe is a Protro, it's not really a true retro, and that's because this Perspective colorway, which again first released back in 2014, released as a high top and not a low top. So now in 2025, we're getting this very bright turquoise, neon, and black colorway in a low top version, which I think some people might prefer, especially nowadays when people aren't wearing Kobe high tops at all. In fact, nowadays, a lot of Kobe sneakers are sitting unless they're a very hyped up colorway or maybe like a Kobe 6. So something like this, the Kobe 9 Elite Low Protro, which actually has sat in the Halo colorway. I've seen it at my local Foot Locker. In this colorway in particular, that just is not something I think a lot of people are gonna grab. Fire shoe, but I think it's gonna sit. Also dropping on December 3rd, we've got the next PSG Air Jordan 5, the Paris Saint-Germain. I was gonna try and say it in French, but I tried earlier and I butchered it, so we're just gonna leave it as PSG. It's the next PSG Air Jordan 5 collaboration. The sock liner of the shoe in the accent color is this sort of dusty rose, which I really like. But there are two details on the sneaker that really set it apart. The first is that the sock liner is actually an image of PSG with all the fans in it, which is really cool. And the second is that the upper of the shoe, while at a distance, looks like just a standard black leather upper. It actually features PSG's logo kind of, I guess, printed on it. I haven't seen the shoe in hand, but based on these images, it looks like it's printed on it in some sort of like very dark gray color, which could be reflective. I don't know, they don't say it's reflective on the website, but who knows, it's probably not though. Oh, also they've removed the netting of the shoe and instead put a leather panel with that same sort of PSG pattern on it, which is a nice touch. Again, it makes it feel a bit more premium. The netting didn't do anything anyway. It didn't actually help any kind of ventilation, so it doesn't change the feel of the shoe at all. At least I'm guessing it probably doesn't. So yeah, an interesting PSG themed take on the Air Jordan 5 coming in at a retail price of $215. Let me know in the comment section down below if this is a pair you want to grab. Also, if you want to grab any of these shoes for yourself, I've made sure to link them through the YouTube shopping tab somewhere on your screen. I don't know where it pops up, it moves around here and there. So as far as this sneaker goes, as clean as it is, I don't think it's gonna sell out. I gotta be honest. It might, I could be completely wrong about that, but for the last couple years, even when a lot of these shoes were super hot, they just didn't really move like that. So I think it's gonna sit. I mean, if you check out the resale price right now on StockX, it's going for like $230, which is $15 over retail, a couple days before it releases. So my guess is, yeah, it's probably gonna sit. Dropping on December 4th, in honor of the final season of Stranger Things, we've got a 5-sneaker Stranger Things Nike and Converse collaboration. So the first two shoes are women's exclusives, and they're both Nikes. You've got the Nike Field General High Stranger Things coming in at a retail price of $130, and the Nike LD 1000 Stranger Things coming in at $100. First off, I haven't seen the new season yet, so please don't spoil it for me in the comments. Second off, Harrison Neville, a friend of mine and fellow YouTuber, is actually in this season, which is crazy. So shout out to him, congrats, that's huge. He's a huge Stranger Things fan, so I can't imagine how exciting that would be. It's like if I went back and was in the original Star Wars movies. Not possible. It'd be that cool though, I would assume. All that being said though, I would assume that these pairs are probably worn in the show. Maybe they're at least inspired by the show. Obviously the packaging is Stranger Themes inspired. Apparently you get pins with them. This Nike Field General High is also apparently the first time that we've ever gotten the high top version of the Nike Field General, so that's something cool, I guess. Again, women's exclusive, and I don't think the hype is really there for this pair, so I'm gonna give this shoe a sit. Next up is the Nike LD 1000 that comes in fuchsia and yellow. Overall, it's a clean shoe, again, probably inspired by the show, if not worn in the show. The $100 retail price is not bad, but it is a women's exclusive, and realistically, I think the shoe is probably going to sit. While yes, there was that pair of Dunks that sold out very, very quickly, which I didn't expect, I'll be honest with you. I just don't think these particular pairs will be moving. They're not really popular silhouettes, first of all, and second of all, they're women's exclusives, which also doesn't help, and third of all, they're not that strange. Things are pretty normal over here. After that, we've got the Converse Stranger Things Weapon. This shoe comes in at a retail price of $130 and a cream and blue colorway. It is very clean. It's also obviously inspired by the 80s and Stranger Things. Again, most likely it has the same sort of packaging that you had on the other two pairs, and I like it. I think it's clean. Will it sell out though? Yeah, I don't think so. The next shoe up is the Stranger Things Converse Chuck 70. This pair comes in at a higher retail price than most of the pairs of Chucks at $110, but it is loaded with Stranger Things details. Now, I don't fully understand them because I haven't seen the season yet. I also haven't watched the last season for like 5 friggin' years because they just release new seasons like every decade, it feels like. So because of that, I don't know what's going on with the sneaker. The outsole's cool. You got some cracking ground there. That's probably coming up from the upside down. I don't know. I have no idea. But either way, you got a chicken on it. That's cool. But hey, it's a cool looking pair of sneakers. If you're looking for a more toned down Stranger Things vibe, this is a great way to go. And while I do think it's going to be popular, I don't think Chucks are moving like that at the moment. So I'm giving this shoe a sit. I could be wrong, but I think it's a sit. Now the final shoe dropping as part of the collaboration is the Stranger Things Air Max 87. Now this shoe I thought was an Air Max 1, but apparently it's the Air Max 87. It's inspired by Steve Harrington's apparel on the show. Presumably he's wearing Air Max 1s is my guess. And it comes in this really clean and very wearable white, maroon, and kind of gray colorway. I would say that this is definitely the most toned down out of all the pairs releasing as part of this collaboration, with the only real Stranger Things hits being on the insole and then the upside down Nike Air branding on the heel, which is actually a really cool detail. The colorway is clean. I don't know why it's an Air Max 87 and not an Air Max 1, presumably because it's like a special thing for Stranger Things. Maybe there's some differences that I don't know about, but either way, something I would definitely rock, but it does come in at a higher retail price of $170. Now, while I said the other shoes from the collaboration would probably sit, I do think because this is the most hype beast friendly silhouette out of the bunch, this one has a potential to sell out. The only reason I'm saying that is because the Nike Dunk sold out, and knowing that that pair sold out, I think this pair does have the potential to sell out. Will it? I still think it might not, but I'm gonna give it a sell just because last time I gave the Dunk a sit, and anyone who maybe listened to me and didn't buy the shoe because they're like, oh, it's gonna sit, sorry about that. Then moving on to December 5th, we've got a Swarovski Nike running collaboration. So for a while now, Nike's been doing collaborations with Swarovski on a bunch of different sneakers. However, unlike this time around, usually these sneakers are covered in crystals. And because of that, and because crystals aren't cheap, these shoes retail for like $600 to $1,000. But it seems like Nike is trying something a bit different with this release, not only one, because they're doing it on newer running silhouettes like the Pegasus Premium and the Vomero Plus, but also they're using less crystals and making the retail price of these shoes lower. So like I mentioned, the first shoe in this collaboration is the Nike Pegasus Premium, coming in at a retail price of $310 and featuring crystals on certain parts of the upper. Like I said, they're not covering the entire shoe in crystals like they did with the recent Air Jordan 1 Low Shadows, which retailed for $1,000. This time around, they're keeping it minimal and only putting crystals on the swoosh. Sure, it's still a $310 Nike Pegasus Premium, but I spent $350 on my non-crystal pair because I bought it for resale because this pair was really hyped this year. This Blue Force colorway on both of the shoes in this collaboration is also pretty clean. It's kind of interesting to see an all blue pair of Nike Pegasus Premiums. Now, as you would expect, this pair is a women's exclusive. It will probably go up to maybe some smaller men's sizes. I'm not totally sure, but expect it to be smaller sizes only. Now, the second pair from this collaboration is the Vomero Plus, and it also only features crystals on the Nike swoosh. It comes in the same Blue Force colorway, and honestly, it's also a pretty great pair of shoes. I have both of these shoes in my rotation. I wear them a lot. They're very comfortable, not these ones in particular, but the shoe itself, the silhouette. Now, what's interesting about the Vomero Premium is that for some reason, this shoe comes in at a much lower retail price of $230, which makes it almost reasonable. I think the standard Vomero Premium comes in at like $180. It's still $50 over the regular one, but $230 for a crystal bedazzled sneaker, not terrible. I'm really interested to see how these sneakers do, but based on what we've seen with the other Swarovski collaborations, I wouldn't be surprised if both of these pairs end up selling out. Also dropping on the 5th is the Nike Air Force 1 Low Pink Cooler Mulberry Rose. Now this shoe is definitely inspired by the Yachty joints that released earlier this year. It's not the same colorway, but the material usage is very, very similar, which is something that Nike has done a lot over the last couple years. They release something hype, and then a couple months later, they release something not as hype. But in this case, I actually think it's a more successful version of that because the colorway is different enough, and it's still pretty clean and wearable. I mean, it's bright pink, so if you don't like bright pink, you're not gonna like this shoe. The outsole tooling of the shoe comes in a semi-translucent rubber. You've got this light pink main upper, and then these darker pink overlays with the black Nike swoosh, and a majority of the upper of the shoe does come in a patent leather. The pair also comes in at a relatively reasonable retail price of $120. So if you don't want to spend like I think it's like $500 or $600 now on the yellow pair of the Yachties, you can check them out through the YouTube shopping tab what the retail price is or the resale price is. You can buy these for $120, which again, is not bad. Will they sell out though? That is the question. I don't think so. I think people have seen through Nike's, I wouldn't call it crap, but Nike's marketing play. So I think this is probably going to end up being a sitter and probably an outlet bound pair of sneakers. I think it will move, but I don't think it's going to move as well as Nike's hoping. So I'm giving this shoe a sit. Then rounding off December 5th, we've got the Air Jordan 3 Soulfly Fruits of Our Labor. So this shoe is inspired by Soulfly co-founders Carlos Prieto's family journey from Cuba to Miami. The sneaker comes in a white tumbled leather upper accented by orange and green suede hits on the toe and on the heel. Obviously, that colorway is inspired by the Miami Hurricanes, and apparently for the launch of the shoe at the store, they had Ed Reed there. Famous Raven. Amazing athlete. Big fan. Shout out to the Ravens, man. They're putting up a fight this year. Obviously, being a Soulfly collaboration, you've got Soulfly's logo debossed into the heel of the shoe, and it's a great looking, simple, and very wearable sneaker that tells a really cool story, and Soulfly never really seems to miss on their collaborations. Obviously, there are some that are stronger than others, but overall, this is a pair that I'm definitely going to be entering the EQL, which launches on December 2nd. So by the way, if you're watching this video after December 2nd, unless you're at the store release or at the Art Basel release, probably can't get it. But apparently there is going to be a wider global release and a release in Cuba. So fire shoe with a retail price of $225, and I definitely think the sneaker will end up selling out. Moving on to December 6th, we've got the Air Jordan 1 High Sail Pale Ivory. In the words of the sneakers app, this shoe has been stripped back to the essentials, which doesn't make sense at all to me because this shoe is very not essential Air Jordan 1. Instead, what they've done is replace a lot of the materials on the upper, which is usually a leather, with different kinds of suedes and elephant print for some reason, and leathers and different accents and colors. And while yes, it is a tonally tan or sail colored sneaker, there's a lot going on. Now with that being said, I actually don't mind the design of this shoe. I think it's clean. I definitely think it follows that sort of off-white vibe a little bit, so maybe that's what they're leaning into. It does have some red hits, and it's a retail price of $185. So even though apparently it's a more premium version, or I think they literally say it's a more premium take on the Air Jordan 1, it's priced about the same. So honestly, it might be an interesting pair to check out in hand, and if it really does feel that much nicer, maybe it's worth a pickup, but who knows? Now, in terms of colorway itself, it's not that exciting, and I don't think a lot of people are that hyped on it because I've been offered pairs from store owners for the last couple months, and usually when that happens, it means that there's a lot of pairs out there. In fact, let me dive into that a little bit. If you can find pairs of a sneaker early on places like StockX or GOAT or eBay or wherever for around retail or just above, and we're talking like, don't even worry about the price actually. If you can find pairs of sneakers, a lot of pairs of sneakers on those platforms, like 3 months before they release, it means that there's tons and tons of pairs. And usually in that case, people will hit me up and be like, yo, do you want a pair of these? Which I appreciate, by the way, if you're watching these videos. Tons of awesome people out there who hit me up to send me pairs, and I really appreciate you guys. Generally, if you can find a lot of pairs online, even if it's like $100 over retail, 3 months before the release, it's not gonna be a hard shoe to get. This is a pair that I've seen online for the last couple months. In fact, I just Googled really quick to check out what the resale price was, and they're actually live on DTLR right now, which is surprising. I didn't know that they were able to be live right now, but they're live. You can get them on DTLR right now if you want. They're on StockX right now for, let me see, in my size, a size 9. A size 8.5 is $99. They haven't even technically released yet, and it's $99. Yeah, this pair is gonna sit. Then rounding off the 6th, we've got the Nardwuar, Nike SB Dunk Lows. I'm embarrassed. I've been a huge fan of Nardwuar for years, not to get into my internet history. That sounds way worse than it actually is. I've been creating videos on social media, not even social media, just on websites, since like 2004? 2005, whenever Stupid Videos first came out. I don't know if you guys remember that website. It was like after the Newgrounds stuff. I was watching Newgrounds, but it was after that. It was kind of like a precursor to YouTube in some ways, although it was nowhere near as popular. Then YouTube came out in what, 2005 or 2005? And I've been posting videos on YouTube since the beginning. And the good news is no one's really found them yet. I think I hid most of them. There's old videos out there. There are a lot of old videos out there in a ton of different channels. Nothing like crazy. I didn't do anything stupid. I didn't say anything wild, but it's just like young Seth. Getting back on track, Nardwuar is the guy, and I've always watched his content, and it's so cool that he's somehow got a Nike SB collaboration. That's awesome. And it's very apparent that it's a Nardwuar collaboration because it's got the little pom-pom from his hat on the top of it. It's so cool. Now, if you're not familiar with Nardwuar, Nardwuar is like one of the OG internet interviewers. He's interviewed some of the most influential and famous musicians of all time. He specifically leans more into music. He's done other stuff too, but mainly music. He's one of the most well-known interviewers out there. He's got a cult following. He's interviewed probably the biggest musicians of all time. What his main shtick is that he does like insanely deep dive research into each one of these people, and he brings them a gift, and that gift like ties in with something that nobody knows. Like, for example, I can't think of anything on top of my head, but it'll be like a record that maybe like Beyonce listened to when she was 4, you know, while her mom was cleaning or something like that. Like something crazy. She's got like nostalgic feelings for it, and there's nothing about it online. I don't know how he figures it out. He probably reaches out to the family or something like that. I have no idea, but either way, it's like really, really cool. And if you guys haven't checked out Nardwuar, you got to. But somehow he got a Nike SB collaboration. He deserves it. It's fire, and I will definitely be trying to grab a pair for myself for the retail price of $140. Actually, hold up. StockX has a retail price at $135. So it's either $135 or $140. It is currently reselling in my size 9 for $237. So it's $100 over retail. It's got the doot in the back too. I didn't even notice that. You know how at the end of his interviews he goes doot 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 doot, and then puts the mic up in the person's face and they go doot doot. This is sick. I love this shoe so much. But either way, this shoe will absolutely sell out. And shout out to Nardwuar for dropping heat. Then moving on to December 11th, we've got the Converse Shea 001 Winter Red. This almost entirely red Shea 001 comes with some really nice green accents, like the zipper on the top of the shoe, the Shea logo. It's a couple 2s, I think flipped or something like that as an S. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but either way, it's in green. The outsole of the shoe also has this green strip running down the center, and it's actually a very clean Christmas colorway. I feel like for the first time in years, and I've said this before, but I'm gonna say it again, basketball sneakers are back. Now, are they as fashionable as they once were? Are they the kind of shoes that you step outside in all the time? Probably not. Maybe if you're a kid going to high school or something like that, and you plan to play pickup after school or something, maybe yeah. But as an adult man, unfortunately, I'm not rocking rocking like high top Kobe's anymore, like we mentioned earlier. I'm just not doing that. But for the younger generation, it's exciting again. And I think if I was to play basketball at all really anymore, I would definitely be stoked. I'm stoked now as a sneaker fan. Plus the Shea 001s are fire. And as a basketball fan who loves the Sixers, but as a true basketball fan, OKC is a team to behold, man. They are just truly probably going to be a dynasty. And you know what? I'm just glad it's not the Celtics. Either way, it's a very clean shoe. I love my 001s, and this is a colorway that I would consider grabbing to rock on Christmas Day. I usually rock my Grinches, but this would be a cool switch up. And for those of you that actually want to buy a pair of these, they're dropping these 2 weeks early, which means you actually have a chance to wear them on Christmas, unlike what they used to do years ago with especially the Halloween pairs where they drop them on Halloween. It's like, when am I supposed to wear these? Till next year? Like, what are you talking about? Either way, Shea 001s are hot pairs. They fly off shelves, and I think this pair is really gonna fly. Like the ones that they just restocked, you can still find them some places. These ones, they're gonna fly off shelves, no question. Absolutely a sell. Dropping on the 12th, we've got the Nike Air Griffey Max Black Freshwater. So this shoe is back once again in the OG team colors. It's dropping for a retail price of 180 bucks, and I feel like it's a pair that if you're a fan of Ken Griffey and you like this sneaker, you're gonna wanna grab it. Now, if you never cared about this pair or the player behind the pair, then you're probably not gonna grab this, but I do think if you're going for that sort of vintage, sort of 90s look, this is not a bad way to go. It's 180 bucks again, so it's not cheap, but realistically, I do think it's not gonna be impossible to find these, and maybe they'll hit outlets. Or maybe it's been a while since the last release. I don't actually remember the last time these released, so maybe they'll fly. My guess is though, they're probably gonna sit. Rounding off the 12th is the Amamaniere Air Jordan 4 Dark Mocha. Now this pair is the third Amamaniere Air Jordan 4 to release. It comes in a tonal brown makeup instead of a sort of a light maroon or a dark maroon color, and it also features what seems to be some sort of caramel hits on the outsole and some sort of darker pink hits as well. So while it is a tonal brown sneaker, it does seem to have multiple color variations on it, which makes it a bit more interesting. Now, I don't have actual images of this shoe. I'm pulling from houseofheat.com, which pulled them from other places. We've got images of these shoes on a shelf at a launch event, and we've also got images of these shoes as a mock-up. So there's no official images of these shoes yet, which means that these pictures won't give you the best representation of what they probably will look like in hand, although the one is actually them in hand, it's just from a distance. So with that being said, I'm gonna hold judgment until I get these in hand. I generally like everything Amamaniere does, and this is a pair that, hey, I'm not mad at it. I'm still gonna try and grab it. But will it hit the way that some of the previous Amamanieres hit? Probably not. And I think it's just because Jordans in general are kind of at a low right now, and Amamaniere has been dropping collaborations left and right. Doesn't mean the collaborations aren't good, doesn't mean they're not awesome sneakers. I love the 6s that dropped. I was wearing them earlier today. I think they're fire. According to House of Heat, the shoe should retail for $225. The release date is also somewhat tentative. I've seen December 12th everywhere online, but it's possible that maybe it's moved or it will move. Usually you know about 2 weeks to 3 weeks before the release for sure when it's releasing, especially for collaborations like this. Like we knew about the Air Jordan 6s releasing, I think, about 2 or 3 weeks before they dropped. So the drop date at this point should be set in stone, but we don't know for sure. We also, again, haven't seen like official images of the shoe, so we don't know for sure if it's dropping on the 12th. But I do think when it does drop, while it probably will move faster than the 6s did, I still think the shoe will probably sit. Maybe not in the initial Amamaniere release, but if it drops on the sneakers app, like the previous Amamaniere 4s did, then yeah, I do think it's gonna sit. I mean, those Amamaniere 4s sat at outlets, which is crazy. Then we get to December 13th, and probably one of the biggest sneaker releases of the entire year, the Air Jordan 11 Gamma. So I've already dropped a full review on the sneaker. If you guys want to check that out, there will be a link at the top of the screen. This pair of shoes is one of the best sneaker releases and one of the best retros of the entire year. The Gamma 11's first released back in 2013 as a new colorway on the silhouette. It's not one of the OG colorways, but when it dropped, it exploded. And it's not just because Air Jordan 11 holiday releases back then were incredibly hot, which probably did have something to do with it, but it's also because it had a black midsole, which at the time was very new for the Air Jordan 11. In fact, most Air Jordan 11 midsoles came in white. So the fact that this shoe is coming back is not a total surprise, especially since it's been, what, 12 years since it last released? And I do think there is gonna be a lot of hype behind it. Will it be as hot as Jordan 11 releases 5 years ago? Absolutely not, but it's still gonna be a pair that I think everyone's gonna wanna grab. I think it'll actually do better than last year's Legend Blues because the Legend Blue colorway, while still clean, while an OG colorway, is not one that I think people were as excited about because it kind of had that sort of dad shoe vibe to it because it's all white. And even though it's got the slightly inflated retail price of $235 and it also has the less exciting packaging of the newer Air Jordan 11s, even if they produce 1 million of them, it's still gonna sell out. Let me know in the comments down below if I'm wrong. Then reportedly dropping on December 18th, we've got the OG Chase Speed Travis Scott Jumpman Jack. So this shoe is kind of a collaboration on a collaboration, as I guess many Jordan sneakers are, because it's technically Jordan under Nike collaborating with Travis Scott. This shoe is actually a 4-way collaboration with that logic. It's Nike, Jordan, Travis Scott signature with Jordan, and then a collaboration on Travis Scott signature with OG Chase B, his like very good friend and DJ. And it's honestly one of the better Jumpman Jack colorways that I've seen. It's not like amazing. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, this is the best thing I've ever seen, but it definitely is more exciting than all of like the brown ones that we've gotten, which is, hey, no problem with those either. But we see a lot of brown Travis Scotts, which again, no problem with that. I'm not complaining, guys. It's different, and I like different. That being said, this shoe comes in a black leather upper accented by this, what seems to be gray ostrich leather on the upper of the shoe, and then you've got got these neon green hits with the semi-translucent outsole. It's honestly cool. It's different. It's got that sort of like early 2000s, maybe 2010 sort of Yeezy vibe to it, which I dig. And while I don't love the Jumpman Jack silhouette that much because it's like basically your foot on an insole right in the ground, there's really no midsole at all. And it's definitely gonna be a limited collaboration. It first dropped, I believe, in Houston at the end of November, and the retail price should be 200 bucks. And while the Jumpman Jack hasn't taken off the way that I think Jordan Brand wanted it to, I do think that this colorway will absolutely sell out. Moving on to December 20th, we've got the Nike GT Future in metallic silver. This shoe is wild and it's taken the internet by storm when we first saw it around All-Star Weekend. There was this colorway and the orange colorway. I don't know if the orange colorway has dropped yet. I should know, but I don't know. So this could be the first release of this shoe, but it could also be the second release. Yes, the orange colorway did already release. I was trying to do a review of them, but I forgot. It's been out, but now you get a metallic silver colorway, which I think in a lot of ways is more wearable because it's a more simple colorway. It's a basketball sneaker, obviously, but it definitely leans into that sort of fashion aesthetic. And it's got this almost foamposite, like retro future vibe to it, but it definitely feels like it's from the future, hence the name GT Future. And I do think it's a pair of sneakers that people are gonna like. This shoe is dropping for a slightly higher retail price of $200. And honestly, even with that retail price, I do think that there is enough hype behind this new silhouette that people are gonna try and grab it. So for that reason, I'm giving this shoe a sell. And I think Nike should do more of stuff like this. Like experiment, don't just experiment. Drop the good experiments, because you guys experiment all the time. Drop the good stuff. Like this. This is exciting. This is different. Also dropping on December 20th, we've got the Air Jordan 8 Bugs Bunny. Originally releasing back in 1993, the Bugs Bunny 8s are one of the most popular Air Jordan 8 colorways out there. Now this time around, this retro is a bit more expensive than the original, which came in at $125, according to Sneaker News. I wasn't aware of things back in 1993, being 1 year old, but this new release, unfortunately, is coming in at almost double that, $210, but I do think there is a lot of hype behind the Air Jordan 8 at the moment. When was the last time you saw an Air Jordan 8 sitting at the store? You haven't. They haven't really been sitting. Then again, when they restocked the Aqua 8s earlier this year on Nike's website, they sat for a minute, but realistically, you just never see 8 sitting in stores. I don't know why the 8 is so popular. Maybe they're releasing less of them, who knows? But I do think these Hair 8s that come in a primarily white colorway with some red, black, and gray accents is gonna be one of those shoes that people are gonna love. Being not only Jumpman heads, I've never said that once in my life, OG heads, that really threw me off. I don't know what I was saying. If you like Jordan 8s, this is a must-have for you. I'm definitely trying to grab it. I will absolutely be dropping some short-form content on my TikTok and on my Instagram at @RealSethFowler on both. Please give me a follow over there. We're trying to build up the community. I'm also dropping a series on mystery boxes. I'm buying mystery boxes till I get a grail. I'm having so much fun with that. Seriously, check it out at @RealSethFowler. Links in the description below. Also check out Editor Tim's channel while you're down there. He just reviewed the Joe Fresh goods, and I'm excited. I haven't watched the video yet, but I'm excited to see it. He hasn't edited it yet, by the way, so it's not like I'm just like I don't see his videos pop up and ignore them. For anyone wondering, they just hadn't, at the time that I'm filming this, it hadn't come out yet. Shout out Editor Tim. Tangent aside, I do think that the Bugs Bunny 8s will sell out. Then dropping on December 24th, we've got the Nike Kobe 3 Protro Christmas. Presumably Christmas. We actually don't know what the name of this sneaker is yet for some reason. This Kobe 3 Protro comes in at a retail price of $210 and seemingly is inspired by ice and snow because it comes in like a semi-translucent blue upper that actually has this really nice fade from like a clear to a blue. I actually really like this shoe a lot. In addition to those hits, you've also got gold branding on the tongue, and there's also a lot of white on the sneaker as well, being inspired by snow and ice, again, presumably. And seriously, this shoe is kind of hot. The only Kobe 3 I've ever really considered buying is the fade to black Kobe 3s because I'd never owned a Kobe 3, and that shade of gray in that fade to black pack was really, really clean on that sneaker. And I really did like the Halo ones, but this is the other Kobe 3 that I've been like, maybe that's a pickup. Wouldn't be something I'd wear very often, and it'd be a tough casual rock, but if you're looking for a good basketball sneaker, not a bad way to go. While I definitely saw Kobe 3 Protro Halos sitting in stores for a while after their release, I think they might have sold out online, but I definitely saw pairs at my local Foot Locker, probably in bad sizes, but I'm not totally sure. I wasn't trying to grab it. This pair I do think will be more popular. The colorway is more interesting. I think it's probably gonna be more limited, and I really think it's a colorway thing. I do think people are more excited about this pair for that reason. So because of that, I'm giving this shoe a sell.